Hello, and joining us on this episode of the Mortgage and Protection Podcast is Paul from Brick to Brick Mortgage Solutions, who is here to explain how the mortgage process works for doctors. It's great to chat with you, Paul. How's it all going?
Yeah, okay, thanks, Tessie. Yeah, how are you doing? All right?
Good. I'm very glad to hear you're well. And yes, I'm all right too. Thank you for asking. Right, let's get straight into the questions that we've got here. So this is a good place to start, of course. How do mortgages work for doctors?
It's the same process as a standard mortgage, but a more
Mm,
complex way of looking at the income and circumstances. So basically, you find out what you can borrow, albeit it's mainly complex with doctors. So you need a
mm,
specialist broker, and then you'll know what property values you can look at and what deposit to save up. But then the rest really is the same with the mortgage process, really.
mm. Okay, so that's good news there then. But actually, we have this question that follows on. People would like to know, they have asked, why can it be difficult for doctors to get a mortgage? So can it be?
Yeah, I mean, even though the process is the same,
Mm,
it is more complex, and sometimes doctors tend to find it hard to prove the evidence of the income that brokers may ask for.
mm,
Some brokers may look at it in a different way. This depends on the employment type and what lenders may use as income on your pay slips.
mm.
Some may have a variety of income streams, such as it could be from the NHS, some of it could be from a trainee,
Right.
locum income, or self-employed, maybe from your own private practice. But as a specialist broker here for medical professionals, we know where to look just to achieve what the maximum amount would be on a mortgage by looking at all those income scenarios.
Mm. Oh, right. Okay. So there we go. Hopefully that sounds reassuring there. Now, how do high levels of student debt affect a doctor's ability to get a mortgage? So that's a good question, isn't it?
Yes, it is because generally doctors do a lot of training, so they probably
Mm,
generally may have initially a high amount of debt, but it does affect what the doctor can borrow on a student loan. But what lenders normally look at on a student loan is they don't really look at the balance, but they do look at what the monthly payment is on that. Basically, it could be a deduction on a pay slip.
mm,
They'll factor in the monthly payment into the affordability. So what that'll normally do is it'll reduce the amount you can borrow. But yeah,
mm,
we'd need to look at that and bring that in to see what it does.
mm. Right. Okay. So that's something to be aware of there then. Let's move on to this next question now. So, what impact do short term contracts have on a mortgage application for a doctor or as a doctor?
Short-term contracts, they normally look as if the employment's not secure or unstable with the normal employment. But in fact, with a doctor, their ability to improve on that income as time goes on should seem more attractive because they generally start on a lower amount,
Mm,
but the future looks a lot brighter. What we would need to look at, we did look at high street lenders first, but more than likely these are going to be a case for a specialist lender.
mm.
So we have access to nearly 100 lenders, so we know this will be fine because the future looks bright, like I said, with the doctor. So
Right.
I mean, we will be able to get it sorted with a specialist lender.
Mm, okay, which is positive there, isn't it? That's good news again. Right. The next question here asks then, how does complex income affect a doctor's chances of securing a mortgage? You've touched on this slightly, haven't you already? But anything else to add here?
Yeah, I mean, with the complex incomes such as the locum income or the private or NHS additional monthly income,
Mm,
this makes it harder to achieve the maximum borrowing you could do on a normal mortgage. Basically, we've got the specialist lenders. We could look at all of these things, all these types of income, along with the potential of using up to maybe using all of it to make up to 6 or 7 times income.
mm,
This is as is this month, May 26.
right.
Yeah, but at the moment, there are lenders that potentially may go up to 7 times your income.
Mm. Oh, right. Wow. Okay. There we go. Thank you. That explains that one there. This is a good question as well. Why might a history of moving affect a doctor's mortgage application?
Lenders normally like to see a stability at a single address, but due to a doctor's work at various hospitals and maybe training contracts, this is
Mm,
not normally possible really because they tend to move to different addresses in a short period of time.
mm,
They may not be able to verify the identity of that person, or there could be an impact on the credit scoring. This is where specialist broker comes in really, and we can basically understand the NHS structure
mm.
of how the employment works.
Mm. Okay, brilliant. So again, hopefully that sounds reassuring there. Right. So how do professional mortgages help doctors in the mortgage application process?
They've got specialist lending criteria.
Mm.
Basically, they'll underwrite the case in a way that they take into account the higher future income potential, the future income potential, basically. So higher
Mm.
earnings in the future, which could mean higher income multiples and lower deposit amounts. So there's certain advantages of these types of mortgages.
Mm. Okay, so that's hopefully useful to know that there are different options available for doctors depending on their circumstances there.
Yeah.
Okay, so you might be slightly biased here, Paul, but what are the benefits of using a mortgage broker for a doctor's mortgage application?
Yes, I mean, using a specialist mortgage broker, I mean, it's what they do on a day-to-day basis. They deal with
Mm.
many medical professionals. I guess as a specialist broker, they tend to understand the incomes and scenarios explained, as we already explained there,
Mm.
which will get you a step closer to achieve the maximum amount on the mortgage that you want.
Right. Yes. Okay. Well, that makes sense there.
Mm.
Now, just lastly, then, what are the credit score considerations that a doctor should keep in mind when applying for a mortgage?
When moving into a different property, as they're going to, like we said, they're going from to various properties, to just notify all of your credit and
Mm.
utility providers, register on the electoral roll at each property, don't miss any payments or have any late ones or develop any defaults or any county court judgments, etc.
Mm.
If you follow all of these and just keep your healthy credit profile, then it won't be an issue.
Okay, so hopefully that's clear there now. Some key pointers to take away from the episode. Just before we go, Paul, we will be back with a part two episode. There's more questions to cover on this, but have you got anything else you'd like to add, or should we meet back on our part two episode?
Yeah, we can go straight on to part two if you want, and take it
Yeah.
from there.
Okay, brilliant. Well, thank you ever so much for that, Paul. Hopefully that's all proved useful so far. And yes, we'll catch you on our part two episode next.
Great, speak soon.
Please note, your home may be repossessed if you do not keep up with your mortgage repayments.